Hello, beautiful ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another podcast with Mimi. This is a quick chat with Mimi on Artcast in Film podcast. And today we'll be talking about, is the shouting necessary in the Nollywood industry? So I'll be talking from my experience so far, and I would love to hear your experience as well, in order to add to the conversation. So today I would like to talk about how I try to watch a film that seems to have good reviews, but at some point in the movie I was wondering why they had to be shouting so much. The shouting was so much that I was wondering, in the script, does it just say, oh, man shouts at lady, lady shouts back at man, and vice versa? Because I don't think even though, let's say for instance in Lagos, we have the culture of being aggressive in order to get heard, in order to get things done. But in general, I don't think that represents the Nigerian culture. Are we trying to be known as the people, the black people who are angry all the time and shouting at each other? I don't get it. I don't get that narrative. Why is it that people in our movies are shouting at each other unnecessarily? Can they have a normal conversation? Is that what happens in people's homes? I'm not aware. Sometimes you might be in your own world and you not know what's happening out there. So could it be that in other people's homes or something, people just shout at each other? Me, I'm aware of people shouting in the marketplace and things like that. Taking public transport, mall where you have to shout. Sometimes, even at work, the workplace, you have to show that you're aggressive. If not, people will, take a ride off you. But I'm just wondering, when did we become a society where everybody is just shouting unintelligently at each other? It's so unintelligent. Why are we shouting? Can't you speak? And I say this because I've had the experience where I've been in the behind the scenes of creating a feature film in Nollywood, and in two occasions, almost all the times, all the experience I've had trying to create a Nollywood film as an art director or a prop master, the aggression is just much. The aggression coming from the director or coming from the producer is just up the scale. And I'm wondering, is it that Nigerians naturally do not hear you until you shout? So we shouldn't blame them on the way they are shouting, because at the end of the day, if they don't shout the way they are shouting, then no one will hear them. Or could we just say these people have found themselves in a position where they feel, oh, I've made it in life, so in other words, I was shouted at, so it's my turn to shout at others. I don't get the shouting. I don't get the aggression, the shouting, the abuse, because at the end of the day, we're all creatives, right, in the industry. And speaking from creating the content, as a creative, I don't work best when I'm being shouted at. I don't know about anybody else. I don't work best when I'm being shouted at. In order to get the best out of me, you need to have a conversation with me, and it has to be intelligent. So if you're just shouting, I've zoned out, literally, you're just looking at a zombie, because I won't be cooperative with you, because I just feel there's nothing I would say that you would even find interesting. So what's the point? So let me recount some of my experiences backstage, like behind the scenes of making these Nollywood feature films. The first set that I, had my first gig on, I came in as the prop master, and then everything was good and nice until we started shooting like properly. I started noticing how, first of all, the art department was just didn't have the respect that it deserves. Talking about the bus that's vans that were provided for other departments, like the wardrobe department, and we had to share it with them. So it was more like it was the wardrobe department bus, and we had to share it. Our department had to share it with them. So it just didn't like make our work easy. But that's not what I'm going to discuss today. What I want to discuss is the shouting that is taking place in the making of this film. And this shouting is not just on only the people in the art department, obviously, but like just and I won't say, oh, okay, it's this person. So it was the producer. Yeah, it was the producer that was doing most of the shouting. The director was also shouting at some point. Then for the DOP joined in the shouting and in the, but anyway, what I want to talk about is how it affected our department. So our department, we of course we were there to like do our best. Me knowing that, okay, I'm fresh out of film school, this is kind of not how it's supposed to be done, but let's just go with it. Like, then, because as our department, we need to have already gotten the set dressed before the acting for the day starts to happen, like the shooting for the day happens. But it's just that he wasn't going that way, and it was because the department, I would not put all the blame on one person, so I don't know how to say it so that it doesn't look like I'm blaming anybody, because we were supposed to know these things, and we were supposed to be supported in making it happen, like making sure that the set is ready and all that before the shooting day and all that. But it was chaos. So I do not blame the director, the producer, from like shouting. She is allowed to express herself, because her expectations were not met according to her. So, but the fact now is, but she wasn't taking part of the blame for it. It was just, it's just the art department that we're going to blame for it. Do you understand? So what I'm trying to get at is the communication, the way the communication was the message was passed across. So it is not about, I'm pissed, so I need to bring down the house, stop production, and then nobody will shoot. We'll just need to sit down and hear you shout. So that's not from my own perspective. I'm talking for myself. If I was the one in that situation, I won't be shouting. Of course, I'll be angry. People will know that I'm angry, but I won't be shouting and insulting people. You understand? I would rather address, first of all, because when something goes wrong, go and address the head of that department in charge of that thing. Talk to the person in charge of the thing. If people need to trash it out between yourselves. There is no point for you to come in the middle of the whole team, from the crew, like the whole crew, and you're shouting and showing everybody that you are angry, and showing and insulting people, belittling people, to me it now becomes a circus, like, and you're not a clown. You understand? So why don't you talk to the person responsible and actually have a dialogue, have a conversation, and figure things out? So I think what I'm trying to get at is the communication is very lagging in the industry. It's like people don't want to talk to each other, but they still want to get some things done the way they want it. I'm wondering, how is that possible? If I don't know what you want, how am I supposed to just, in my dream, start to see all the things you want, and then I start to work towards it? It can't happen. Communication is key, and not just any communication. You need to be having dialogue, discussions, letting people know how you feel, the right people. Not belittling people, because at the end of the day, the energy is going to bring down not just the team that you're addressing, but the rest of the team. Because first of all, there are some people that will think, it is entertaining, and those people are very negative, malicious people. I don't even know what to call them. They'll say, people with gossips, entertaining, you're entertaining yourselves with noise. Some people will be affected because they'll become afraid, like, okay, is it my turn next to be shouted at? Is it my turn to be be insulted? Some people, and in that case, they might not be able to express themselves the way they want to express themselves. They will just keep to themselves. They will not even talk to the main person, shout, like the shouter, or I don't know what to call the person that is loud, because all they just want to do is get their job done and leave. And that kind of environment is not the best for the creative industry. Like, it's not the best for creatives. You cannot expect creatives to just be in their shell because you have put them there. You need to actually talk to them. You need to actually know how you're talking to them. If you're criticizing their work, you have to do it in a professional manner, so that they will give you their best. Because if someone does something you don't like, and you actually express yourself in a respectful way and be like, okay, this is why I don't like this, this is what I was expecting, but this is not what I'm getting. The person will understand that, you are actually trying to get the best out of me. So I'm going to start thinking fast on my feet. I'm going to start okay, what do I do? But if you think, by shouting or be insulting people, then they will do better. I don't think it works for me that way. I don't know about any other creative. It only just makes me want to just do anything you say I should do. I won't even be thinking for you anymore, because I'm just be like, let me be done with this. Let me do and leave. Do you understand? And I will hardly even share ideas. We will not even go. It's just the morale. Like, when you've killed morale, you have killed morale. Do you understand? So it's not like if I don't want to do my best, I want to do my best, but there's something called morale. Like, you can't just belittle and insult somebody and then you expect them to come out from that and be like, okay, I'll give you all my best. No, it doesn't happen that way. So in this instance, after all the shouting was happening, I had to step in at some point, because she was shouting at the art director. I had to come in at some point and I was like, okay, enough of the shouting. Can we find solutions to this? And luckily for us, after she thought I was trying to gaslight her or whatever, she actually now puts the set together. Like, instead of putting the set together, we got things to make the set look good. The things that I, as a prop master, the things I provided were used, to decorate the space and everything. But that would have been done. I just believe that would have been done from the onset. Instead of wasting, we probably wasted like 30 minutes or thereabouts of somebody shouting up and down and up and down, and people are just standing and looking, because I guess they did not know what to do next. Do you understand? Another experience I had was on a set where the director was just loud and shouting and insulting. I think in this particular experience, I think people in the industry just feel that when they can bully or people who are upcoming, or people who are not up to their level as they may think in their head. I don't even know, because I don't even understand why the shouting was happening though, because again, maybe that's how people talk in the industry, because it's all just simple things that could have been communicated via dialogue or something, instead of shouting and looking for how to insult somebody for little things, holding in the, and the fact that it is done like a show. He would look for an audience. When he finds the audience, he will now start shouting, and then everybody just sit and watch, or just be moping. And I'm just like, is this necessary, really? Like, you can actually have a conversation with somebody, and it would have been better. You should have had conversation with the head of department, and things would have just moved smoothly. The shouting was not necessary. The insults were not necessary. Because, like I said, it only makes someone feel, no matter what I do right now, I'm going to be shouted at, so there's no point for me to go over and beyond. Like, there's no point for me to even be creative right now, because whatever I do will just lead to shout. It was just like she's shouting was just the way the person knew how to communicate. But the insult part was just so unnecessary, and that's just to say, I'm just trying to say, we should be mindful of the way we speak to each other, especially in the industry, amongst our mates, amongst because at the end of the day, there's a lot people are going through, right? Now, going back into just thinking about it as in the mental health that is involved in creating stuff, creating film is like major. You because when I won't speak for myself, when I left that set, I felt traumatized, because I was like, wow, I did not even understand why I was shouted at, and why I just couldn't be talked to. So it just got me off my balance. Like, I was like, I needed to take some time off to just get to the root of as to actually just solve the self-doubts that I was having in my head, after the experience, and many other things that was going on, you understand? Because I was just like, I've never ever in my life been shouted at that much. So it was just like a surprise to me. Like, I haven't done anything to you. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help your production, and all I'm getting is insults and belittling someone. As it was just not an environment that I'm used to. But I'm just saying, like, if nobody is talking about these things, then what kind of industry are we building? What actually are we building? if we are not, being responsible for ourselves and even for others that we're working with. You can't, like I said, you cannot expect the best from people when you are, belittling and insulting them and shouting at them for no good reason. Even if you have a reason, like there are other ways you can communicate professionally, instead of shouting and being barbaric. So I think it's something we need to look at, because they're talking about mental health issues in the industry, but even as in the industry, amongst ourselves, we're not even taking note of it. We're not taking note of how we talk to each other, or how we respect each other, or how we deliver our criticisms. Like, those things really matter if we're really concerned. So I feel like people need to actually calm down. They need to relax in this industry, in the Nollywood industry. Just relax. You understand? Like, I understand, sometimes these projects are very emotional for a lot of people. They've worked their ass off to get to this point, and they don't want nobody to walk it up for them. But please, man, like, if you have employed people to work with you, if you have created a team, put together a team to get this work done, just try to be on this, to be on the understanding part, and just like, okay, these guys are coming from other spheres of life and they're here to make things happen. So you shouldn't address them like they are fools. You shouldn't be shouting at them. Like, you should talk to them like adults who came to join you on the project and you're trying to achieve something. And to be honest, from my own perspective, if you're just very constructive with your criticism, I bet you're going to get a lot more from a creative than shouting at them. Then coming to the film itself, like, is that the narrative we want for Nollywood? We want Nollywood to be known as, angry black people. Like, I don't get it. Like, can't we have a decent conversation? Do you see other, Western movies or even Asian movies? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Does it mean that Nigerians are aggressive and loud? And even if they're aggressive and loud, do we really want to showcase that part of us? Why don't we showcase the part where we are having a conversation and actually doing productive stuff and actually being funny? Why do we, every society has its own downside. Like, every society has its own bad side. Trust me, if they want to, rather, they would showcase those parts. But as Nollywood industry players, we need to focus on our positive. Why don't we focus on our positive, and export that? A lot of people are doing a great work at that. I won't even discredit them. Like, there are a lot of people who have done work on exporting the good side of Nigeria, as a culture and stuff. But I think a lot of people are so I don't know the English to put, they're so narrow. They're so narrow in the negative part of Nigeria that they're not aware of, okay, so there's a positive side of Nigeria we can actually showcase, and actually not only showcase the positive side of Nigeria. What about showing what's possible, even if they don't exist right now? Even if those things don't exist right now, what about showcasing what's possible for the Nollywood industry, what's possible for Nigeria as a whole, shifting the mindset into this could be our future? What about that? Do we need to just dwell in where we are? I say this because I just tried to watch a movie, that had some kind of good reviews by the director. He was posting on his page, oh, this is, the movie is a 10/10, and all sorts. And I was like, okay, let me just go and have a look at this movie, because I'm the kind of person that doesn't watch unnecessary stuff. I'm very selective of what I watch, because sometimes I don't have the bandwidth for some nonsensicals, you understand me? So I said, let me go and watch this movie that is having some reviews. Oh my god, the shouting was too much. Like, it was unnecessary. This person is shouting on this person, that person is shouting at this person. What am I watching? They're not even having a conversation. So if that's what we're putting out there, then no wonder our reality is what it is. We can't have a conversation because it's all about shouting. Can we just project a future where people have a conversation and understand each other and know where each other is coming from? And maybe somehow we can influence people to actually live a noiseless life, a life with reasoning, understanding. Like, the Nollywood industry needs to understand that they have a lot of responsibility in their hands right now. Like, whatever you portray out there is what people believe is happening in the society. So even if the bad stuff is happening, I understand. Yeah, what about focusing on the positive side as well? Like, I just feel like we're so screwed. We're so, narrowing on the negative that we forget the positive, and it doesn't help the society at all. So yeah, I said I should drop these quick chats to let everybody know, if you, especially those participating in the Nollywood industry, like, come on now. We need to start thinking outside the box. We need to start painting futuristic images of where we want to be, where we ought to be, because the mind is very important in, like, shaping the society. So we need to do our part in shaping that. If we're just dwelling in the negative, then what would you tell the 7-year-old, the 8-year-old, the 13-year-old? To them, you're already forming the reality that you want them to believe in. And not creating a reality where they feel there's hope. I feel if we are the key players in the industry, focus on that, there'll be a lot of changes in the industry as well as the community at large. Yeah. So that's my quick chat. I hope you enjoyed it.